Shedeur Sanders didn't need a dominant season to make headlines, he needed a moment. That moment came in the form of a Pro Bowl selection that caught the NFL off guard and sent analysts scrambling. On paper, his 7-start record looked pedestrian, even alarming. But off the field, his value was already surging. The backlash from Cam Newton and others only amplified the story, pushing Sanders deeper into the...
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
The NFL didn't just name a replacement quarterback, they validated a brand. And in doing so, they unlocked a new model for how power is acquired in the league. What this selection really did was bridge his past momentum with future earnings potential. While ineligible for the league's performance-based salary bump, Sanders now enters his second season with something far more potent: formal legitimacy. His prime equity model already gave him control over revenue streams most rookies never touch. Now that model meets a narrative of on-field validation, however contested, which will shape negotiations, influence endorsements, and deepen fan buy-in. The Browns may have drafted a 5th-round prospect, but what they actually acquired is a high-stakes investment vehicle gaining value by the week. 2 minutes ago, a 5th-round quarterback with more interceptions than touchdowns landed in the Pro Bowl. And now, the NFL might owe him tens of millions before he even finishes his rookie contract. Shedeur Sanders' path to Pro Bowl status wasn't traditional. It wasn't driven by elite stats or a breakout playoff run. It was a replacement slot handed to him after Drake May landed a Super Bowl berth. On paper, it's an afterthought. But behind the scenes, that single designation could be the most financially explosive moment of his entire early career. Because this wasn't just about football. It was about validation. About optics. About what happens when a player becomes too visible, too profitable, and too culturally relevant to ignore. The Pro Bowl didn't change Shedeur's numbers, but it changed his positioning. And that distinction is worth a fortune. Statistically, the critics have a point. 7 starts, 1,400 yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 picks. It's not a resume that usually earns you a ticket to the league's all-star game. And Cam Newton didn't hold back, calling the move rage bait. Maybe it was. But rage, like attention, has value. And the NFL knows that better than anyone. That Pro Bowl graphic? It printed money. Whether fans were celebrating or doom-scrolling through quote tweets, they were engaging. The moment created friction, and friction drives market value. That one graphic turned a developmental quarterback into a franchise topic. A polarizing one, sure, but that's the kind that moves units. The result? A single roster update just sent Shedeur's brand equity into a new tax bracket. Before this Pro Bowl nod, Shedeur's financial model was already ahead of the curve. His prime equity deal had generated $14 million in jersey sales revenue alone. Not total revenue. Just jersey sales. That's not normal for a rookie. That's not even normal for a starter. But Shedeur wasn't built to be normal. He came in with infrastructure. A name, a brand, a platform, and a contract that gave him control of it all. And now that platform has an official league credential stamped across it. Forget the $45,000 to $90,000 payout. That's table scraps compared to the real unlock: credibility. He may not have qualified for the CBA's proven performance escalator, no bonus 4th-year salary bump for replacement selections, but what he gained is worth more. It's market-shaping leverage. And it's arriving at the exact moment the Browns least expected it. Because they got him for next to nothing. A 5th-round pick. A $4.6 million rookie deal. A total steal until now. Because now they're looking at a player whose off-field commercial profile is escalating faster than his on-field development. And that's a paradox that every front office is going to have to confront. The Browns can't afford to treat Shedeur like a backup anymore. Not when he's performing like a revenue engine. They can ride the wave now, sure. Merch is flying off the shelves. Engagement's up. National coverage is sticking. But in a year or two, they'll be the ones paying the bill. Because Shedeur's second contract won't be a typical quarterback deal. It'll be a case study. A benchmark. Analysts are already saying it may not just match existing starter contracts. It could redefine them. Not just with on-field incentives but with integrated off-field metrics. Think retail sales velocity, fanbase growth, and content engagement built right into the terms. A hybrid valuation model for a hybrid quarterback era. And that model started ticking the moment the Pro Bowl announcement dropped. Now Shedeur isn't just a promising young QB, he's a player with league-validated branding power. And that unlocks everything. New endorsements, escalated sponsorships, increased jersey movement, and the kind of cross-platform influence teams can't manufacture in-house. This is what happens when sports valuation moves from the locker room to the algorithm. Completion percentages still matter, but they no longer tell the whole story. Shedeur's story lives on TikTok, in merchandise cart conversions, in YouTube watch time, in Instagram stories that double as product placement. And now it lives in the NFL archives as a Pro Bowl selection. That's where the money is. Not in the stat column, but in the perception shift. Because while Shedeur didn't beat out elite quarterbacks on performance, he did beat them in one crucial category: cultural presence. He's already out-earned his rookie contract, and he's just getting started. Now that he's technically a Pro Bowler, brands and broadcast partners can use that label to justify higher spend, higher priority, and higher visibility. It's leverage that multiplies. And the Browns are in the eye of that storm. They can't pretend this is just hype anymore. There's data now. There's traction. And there's a head coach, Todd Monken, ready to build a system that actually fits Shedeur's skill set. Which means the development arc could accelerate at the same time as the branding arc. That's where it gets expensive. Because if Shedeur improves even moderately as a passer, the Browns will have to choose: lock him down early and risk overpaying based on potential, or wait and face a bidding war shaped by both analytics and market value. And here's the uncomfortable part. Even if his numbers stay average, they'll still have to pay. Because Shedeur isn't just part of the franchise, he is part of the product. And in the modern NFL, that's enough to justify a major check. This is the tension every team is going to have to deal with in the post-nil era. Players who arrive not just as athletes but as companies. Companies with reach, metrics, and demand curves that live outside traditional football frameworks. Shedeur isn't an outlier anymore. He's the start of a trend. And that Pro Bowl nod? That was the formal welcome to the new economy. And now fans and teams alike have to rethink what they value. Not just wins. Not just leadership. But conversion rates. Share of voice. Narrative traction. Legacy still matters, but visibility pays the bills. That's the world Shedeur's thriving in. And he's not apologizing for it. So when Cam Newton calls the Pro Bowl selection rage bait, he's not wrong. But he's not seeing the full picture. The rage was the bait. But Shedeur didn't set the trap, the league did. And it worked. Everyone bit. And every click, comment, and repost pushed his market value even higher. Now the Browns are sitting on a quarterback who's generating controversy and cash. And that's not a problem. That's a business opportunity. They just have to decide how long they can afford to run this play before the price becomes too steep. If you're watching this unfold and realizing how fast the valuation game is changing, hit like. Share it with someone who still thinks Pro Bowl selections are about stats. Drop a comment. Should teams pay for production, platform, or both? And subscribe if you're ready to follow the rise of a player who just turned a replacement slot into $1 million milestone. The next era of the NFL isn't just coming, it just got named to the roster. There's no subtle way to say it. Shedeur Sanders just turned the NFL's oldest prestige pageant, the Pro Bowl, into a business accelerator. And now, the league, the fans, and especially the Cleveland Browns are watching a fifth-round rookie rewrite how value is defined. Because this wasn't just a feel-good inclusion. This wasn't a legacy pick, for the culture nod, or a charity gesture by the league office. It was a signal. Loud, divisive, monetizable. And whether it came from algorithmic chaos, fan hype, or marketing calculus, the result is the same: he's in. His name, now etched into official league history as a Pro Bowler, changes the conversation entirely. Before this, Shedeur Sanders was a calculated risk. High ceiling, high profile, and proven output. The Browns were managing expectations, the media was split, and front offices across the league were watching him with a cautious side eye. Then one decision, a replacement slot, transformed a developing rookie into a certified asset. Not because his play suddenly improved. Because the Pro Bowl badge rewrote the narrative. This is what changes in modern sports valuation look like. It's not just yards, wins, or throws anymore. It's brand scalability. It's narrative capital. It's the long tail of a viral moment that never stops compounding. Look at what's happened since the selection. Endorsement doors have opened wider. Retail partners are doubling down. Search traffic spiked. Content pipelines grew overnight. And within the Browns' own walls, they're watching a quarterback they drafted on the cheap become a central branding figure they might soon have to pay premium money to retain. That's the duality of Shedeur's rise. Short-term gold rush, long-term financial complexity. This is the catch-22 NFL teams weren't prepared for. You draft a player with cultural heat and low cap cost, and that heat explodes into national relevance, before the development arc catches up. Suddenly, you're holding the rights to a player with a value curve that outpaces your control over him. It's a business win, until it becomes a negotiation crisis. Because Shedeur's not negotiating like a typical QB. He doesn't have to. He's not hoping to land endorsements after production. He's monetizing his identity now. His prime equity deal set the tone before his first snap. And the Pro Bowl selection? It just added legitimacy. That badge is a bridge. It connects hype to infrastructure. It takes a platform he already built and straps on a certified NFL cosign. And that means brands, agents, and executives can't hand-wave him away as potential anymore. Now, every conversation about Shedeur comes with institutional validation. And it doesn't matter if you agree with it. Because from a business standpoint, perception has already been monetized. Even the outrage has value. Maybe especially the outrage. Cam Newton's critique? It didn't bury the moment, it amplified it. Every repost, every debate, every podcast take that labeled the selection undeserved, turned into free marketing. In a strange twist, Newton gave Shedeur what the league couldn't: controversy that moved product. And while everyone argued about the numbers, the real scoreboard was lighting up on the back end. Engagement, click-throughs, jersey orders, new followers, sponsorship inquiries. This is the modern sports economy, and Shedeur just proved he's fluent in it. What makes this even more potent is timing. He's not at the end of a contract. He's not trying to resurrect a brand. He's just entering year 2. And now he's stepping into a system under Todd Monken, a coach known for maximizing quarterback skill sets. Which means the one thing he's still behind on, production, might actually catch up. If that happens, the conversation doesn't just shift. It detonates. Because then the Browns aren't just managing a brand leader. They're negotiating with a potential franchise quarterback whose cultural capital is already valued like a top 10 starter. The projections are already floating. $35 million per year? Probably conservative. $40 to $45 million with brand multipliers? Very real possibility. What? Because Shedeur's not just a signal caller. He's a signal. A sign that the NFL's next generation isn't just faster and younger, it's smarter about how the machine works. And the league? It's being dragged into this future whether it's ready or not. Gone are the days where off-field value was a soft bonus. Now it's contract language. Analytics firms are tracking player-driven media impressions alongside red zone efficiency. Merchandising departments are getting looped into cap discussions. This isn't theoretical. It's real. And Shedeur's Pro Bowl nod just pushed it into the spotlight. Think about the Browns' position right now. They got him at a discount. They capitalized on his buzz. They've seen the engagement surge. But now, every new post, every national mention, every media cycle pushes his valuation up. And that valuation doesn't care if he's throwing 30 touchdowns or 13. Because the demand is no longer purely statistical. It's holistic, market-aware, digital-first. And for Cleveland, that means two things. One, they've stumbled into a brand asset they never expected to scale this fast. Two, that asset now controls the timing. Because Shedeur doesn't have to wait to be paid like a top-tier quarterback. He's already earning like one, just through different channels. And when the time comes to talk extensions, the baseline isn't going to be performance metrics. It's impact metrics. How many rookies can say they drove up fan engagement? Moved national media narratives? Elevated franchise relevance? Not many. But Shedeur can. And he has proof. That's the shift we're seeing. The NFL still tracks performance, sure. But now it has to track influence. And if Shedeur is the prototype, every contract after him gets built with his model as the reference point. That means bigger early asks, more creative clauses, and a new wave of athletes who understand that narrative leverage is a currency, and it's most valuable before the box scores catch up. Because that's the play. Use perception while it's hot. Convert attention into guarantees. Lock in value before teams figure out how to suppress it. Shedeur got his Pro Bowl badge at the perfect time. Not because he's peaking, but because the market is. This is the apex moment. He's still affordable, still developing, still theoretically learning. But his off-field engine? Already elite. Already monetized. Already outperforming his peers. The Browns now have to decide how long they want to ride the value curve before it spikes. Because once it does, the cost won't be manageable. It'll be historic. And it all started with one unexpected nod from the league. At this point, if you still think Shedeur Sanders' Pro Bowl selection was just a nice gesture or a fluke nod, you're missing the real story. This isn't about football tradition. It's about valuation strategy. And Shedeur just played it better than most front offices even realize. Because that one roster spot, the kind most people scroll past, just did what 3 seasons of solid play might not have. It fast-tracked Shedeur's market legitimacy. It turned debate into data, opinion into leverage. That tiny line on the resume, 2026 Pro Bowl replacement, is now a lever his agents will pull for the next 5 years. And here's why it works. In the NFL, perception is power. Always has been. The only difference now is that the perception is monetized. It's not just hype anymore. It's digital reach, merchandise performance, and licensing analytics. It's clicks, shares, jersey orders, and episode views. And Shedeur is sitting at the center of all of it. He already built the platform. Now the league just endorsed it. That's what this Pro Bowl moment really was. An endorsement. Not a unanimous vote of statistical dominance, but a practical acknowledgement that he matters. That people are watching, talking, buying, tuning in. And no matter what side of the argument you fall on, whether you think he deserved it or not, the effect is the same: he wins. Because this isn't about numbers anymore. This is about what the league is willing to reward. And what they rewarded was relevance. That's a signal to every young quarterback with a camera crew, a merch store, and a highlight editor. Build your value now. Don't wait for the NFL to tell your story. Bring your own audience. Package your own identity. And if you do it well enough, you'll get that call, even if your stats say you shouldn't. That's not a broken system. That's a new one. And Shedeur is its case study. Look at what the Browns are facing now. They took a flyer on a 5th-round quarterback. No risk, low cost, no pressure. And in less than a year, he's flipped their entire strategic outlook. What began as an experiment in draft value has turned into a full-blown valuation challenge. Because if Shedeur has the momentum to land Pro Bowl status without top-tier numbers, what happens when the numbers do improve? What happens when Monken's system kicks in, the reads get sharper, the decision-making tighter, and the red zone efficiency climbs? The answer? The price goes up. Fast. The Browns' short-term win is turning into a long-term riddle. Keep him on a rookie deal and benefit from the buzz? Or get ahead of the curve and try to extend him before the market explodes? But either way, they're negotiating with a player who isn't just a quarterback, he's a fully operational brand. That's where most teams struggle. They're still treating players as positions. But the elite ones now, they're properties. Shedeur isn't just under center. He's in every commercial conversation, every fan shop, every trending topic in sports media. And he controls the assets that come with that attention. Because his contract is different. It's not just about game checks. It's about intellectual property. His prime equity clause ensures he profits off every part of his name, video, jersey, likeness, event, replay. If it's Shedeur, it's his. And when that clause meets a Pro Bowl nod, it's gasoline on fire. That's the brilliance of the timing. He doesn't need the CBA's performance escalator. He just created his own. The Pro Bowl unlocked a new layer of opportunity. Expanded endorsements, increased exposure, and even more leverage when it comes to a renegotiation conversation that's closer than people think. Because yes, technically that second contract window isn't here yet. But this kind of visibility accelerates the process. Once you're seen as a potential franchise cornerstone, the math changes. You stop thinking in cap-friendly development years and start thinking in market protection. Teams don't want to lose the player or the brand. Especially when that brand is already putting up numbers that outperform established starters in commercial value. And that's what separates Shedeur from the pack. Other quarterbacks might have better stats. But are they selling $14 million in jerseys before year 2? Are they leading digital in-game engagement metrics? Are they creating third-party licensing streams that rival their base contract? No. That's the new playing field. And Shedeur is running the offense now. This Pro Bowl nod isn't about where he is as a player. It's about what he represents. He's the prototype for the post-nil quarterback. Someone who understands that in this era, you build value before the league validates you. Then, when they finally do, you've already structured the deal to benefit from it. That's what happened here. The NFL gave him a footnote. He turned it into a headline. They gave him a bonus. He turned it into a multiplier. They gave him a jersey. He turned it into a business asset. And the ripple effect is just beginning. You can already see it. Agents are rethinking rookie deals. Nil consultants are prepping college players with Shedeur's path as a benchmark. Social media teams are being hired before training camp. Because the new goal isn't just to be ready to play, it's to be ready to scale. That's what Shedeur has done. And whether the Browns realize it or not, They now have the league's most visible experiment in next-gen quarterback economics on their roster. So they have to decide, do they play catch-up with a reactive deal in 2 years? Or get proactive now and redefine what a modern extension looks like? It's a gamble either way. But here's the truth, the longer they wait, the more expensive it gets. Because every week Shedeur's name trends, every new drop of merch, every new click on his content, it's compounding. And when the dust settles, when it's time to sit down and talk money, the stat sheet won't be the most important piece of paper in the room. The valuation model will be. And Shedeur Sanders just proved he knows exactly how to drive it. If you're still watching this unfold and thinking this is about just football, hit like. Share this with someone who still thinks the Pro Bowl is just an end-of-year award. Drop a comment, how should teams calculate value in the nil era? And subscribe, we're following every move as this new generation of players forces the NFL to meet them where they already are, at the intersection of talent, platform, and profit.